Welcome to or welcome back to Uncommon Peasant, where we talk about all things uncommons, peasant cube, and just that silver set symbol in general. Today is going to be part 2 of our Marvel Superheroes Jumpstart Uncommon set review, talking about all the uncommons in the set, how they work in peasant cube, and just general impressions of the uncommons. Part 2 just because there were so many uncommons in this set. But let's jump into it. First up is Miss Marvel, Elastic Ally. 3 mana, 2/2 reach. When she enters, target creature is +2/+0 till end of turn, and whenever a creature you control with power greater than base power deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, only triggers once each turn. It's fine. It's kind of just a worse Cutsil from the most recent Ixalan set, and I think it lacks in a lot of ways compared to that. It definitely, the reach is good, and giving its own way of buffing one of your creatures is good too, but I just don't think it quite does enough, and the limiting to only once each turn isn't great either. But I like that we're pushing more into this. Could be a cool new draft archetype over time for Peasant Cube with the power greater than base power, but I just think Cutsil's better. Next is Multiversal Recruitment. 4 mana sorcery, create a token that's a copy of target creature you control, except it isn't legendary, and flashback for 7. This is incredibly similar to a card we got in the first Innistrad block. It's 1 mana more expensive, but the copy isn't legendary if the creature's legendary. And we're getting more and more legends with each set. So I think this is, it's leagues better than that card. I think it honestly probably is just better in Commander than Peasant Cube. It's a bit expensive to make a clone of something, and the flashback is nice. It might be good in graveyard decks, but I just don't think it's where we want to be. It also relies on you having something on your board first. Notably, it's only a target creature you control, so I don't think it quite gets there. Next is Namora, the Sea Queen. 3 mana, 2/3 flyer with power up for 6. Put a +1 counter on Namora and create 2 1/1 blue Merfolk creature tokens. It's better than a Windrake. It passes that test. The power up is fine. Basically becomes a 3/4 with 2 1/1s, so basically 6 mana for 5/6 worth of stats. Part of that's flying. I think if your cube cares about Merfolk, this could be a decent role player there. But I think overall it might just be a little too expensive for what we want to do and a little too clunky. But it's fine. Next is Nighthawk, Dark Defender. 2 mana, 2/1 flyer. Whenever it or another hero you control enters, target creature gets +1/+1 till end of turn. Nice and simple. A 2/1 flyer for 2 isn't bad. It relies on other heroes to really make an impact, which if your cube happens to have a hero sub-theme, that could be pretty good, pushing through that extra damage, but I don't think it quite... We certainly don't have the critical mass of heroes yet that are playable in Peasant Cube to have this reliably activate its effect, so I don't think it's good enough. Otherwise, it's basically going to be a welcome turn that doesn't really do much. Next is Origin of Black Widow, the first of our Origins. So this is 3 mana for a saga. Chapter 1, each opponent sacks a creature of their choice. Chapter 2, creatures you control gain Death Touch on a turn. And Chapter 3, each opponent loses 1 life for each creature card in their graveyard. I really like this. It's removal that can also then help push damage through and ping for some extra damage too, which I feel like adds some extra reach to that effect. 3 mana isn't bad for what it gives you. I do think this is better than a lot of the 3 mana sagas we've been seeing lately for Peasant Cube, because it's definitely at least reliable removal and then some life loss. Giving all of your creatures Death Touch, if you have a good board built up by turn, let's see, if you're playing the Sunray, that's turn 4, I think that could be pretty good. It really pushes damage through, and in Peasant Cube there's less ways to get around your opponent having Death Touch stuff. So I think that is a very good effect. And then losing 1 life for each creature card in their graveyard, it's expected to at least have the 1 creature they sacked, and then maybe they traded with a creature or 2 of yours when you came in with Death Touch. So they're probably going to lose on average 2 life from that, which is pretty good. I like it. If your cube cares about sagas or enchantments or has a really heavy graveyard theme, I think this could definitely get there. I would be curious to play it and see how it actually plays, but I quite like it for what it is. Next is Origin of Captain America, a 3 mana white enchantment saga. With Chapter 1, put a +1 counter on target creature you control against First Strike and Vigilance till end of turn. Chapter 2, make a colorless equipment artifact named Sturdy Shield with equipped creature gets +2 and equip 2. And then Chapter 3, tap up to 1 target creature and put a stun counter on it. I like this. It gets you an enchantment, an artifact, and it buffs a creature and potentially slows an opponent's creature. I just don't feel like I feel like the pieces here don't add up to a really good whole. You need to have a creature on board for that first chapter. If you have nothing, it does nothing. The tapping creature putting a stun counter on it's pretty good for slowing them down, but by the point that triggers, being what, turn 5 at the earliest, I mean, it's not going to make that much of a difference. They probably already have the board gummed up pretty well. It may slow down their big beater for a turn, which is fine, but I think we may just have better effects for 3 mana to deal with that. And the Sturdy Shield is fine. It's not exciting. I don't love it. We've got better equipment and even better equipment tokens, I think. So I don't think I'd play Origin of Captain America. Sorry, Cap. Next is Origin of Iron Man. 5 mana blue enchantment saga. Chapter 1, tap 1 target creature. It doesn't tap during its controller's untap step for as long as the saga remains on the battlefield. Chapter 2 is draw 2. In Chapter 3, you may put an artifact card with mana value 5 or less from your hand onto the battlefield. This is interesting. The draw 2 is nice. The free artifact is good if you have a critical mass of artifacts in your cube. And the tapping creature for as long as it remains on the battlefield is a pretty good removal spell for while it's around. I just think all around it's too expensive for what it wants you to do. And I think your cube has to run a lot of artifacts to make that last effect really worth it, which is a big part of why you're paying that 5 mana in the first place. I think overall it's too expensive, unless, again, your cube has an artifact sub-theme. Maybe try it out there. I probably just won't run it in my cube. Next is Origin of the Hulk. 3 mana, create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. Chapter 2, put 2/1 counters on target creature you control. And Chapter 3, target creature you control gets +3/+3 and gains trample till a turn. I like this. It's kind of base, like, if you have nothing else to do with it, it's kind of a 3 mana 3/3 that gets a big buff one time, which is fine. I don't think it has enough board impact. Like, maybe it made it fight or drew you a card or something. I could see this being worth it and it'd get there. I don't think it's enough value for what you're paying for it, though. It's cute that, like, it really plays out flavorfully, you know, Bruce Banner becoming the Hulk, but I just don't think it's good enough for Peasant Cube. Next is Origin of Thor, 3 mana. Chapter 1, you may discard a card if you draw 2 cards. Chapter 2, whenever you cast a spell this turn, put a +1 counter on target creature you control. And Chapter 3, target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. I really like this card. It reminds me a lot of the White-Red Saga from Kaldheim, where you exile top 4, then you can play them while it's on the battlefield, and then when the other chapters like put +1 counters on your stuff when you play spells. So it reminds me of a lot of that, and it's card advantage, a buff for casting spells, but then it also has that extra damage tacked on at the end there, which is nice. I actually quite like this one. Because even at its base level of if you have no creatures, do nothing else, it's a 3 mana draw 2, which isn't bad in red. I mean, it's 1 mana more expensive than we like to see for that effect with, you know, Thrill of Possibility and stuff. But I think it's pretty good. I would be curious to try this. Your mileage may vary. But I think it's my favorite of the 3 Origin enchantments. Next is Patriot Young Avenger. 3 mana 3/2 prowess. And as long as he's equipped, other creatures you control get +1/+0. I mean, it passes the base stats test. The 3 mana 3/2 prowess is pretty good. The equipability, I mean, it's fine, buffing the rest of your stuff, but usually in your equipment decks, you want 1 big creature instead of a bunch of little ones. This would buff all the little ones, but I think if your Peasant Cube has a designated equipment archetype, I think this may be good enough. The hybrid really helps it here. Is it flexibility in casting? I don't know if it's quite good enough, but I think it may work okay in an equipment sub-theme. Next is Peggy Carter, Secret Agent, 2 mana 2/1. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gains indestructible till end of turn. So this is like, it kind of gives that Luke Cage effect from the main set to any of your creatures that attack alone. And the 2 mana 2/1 base isn't terrible. I think it's pretty good, especially if you support the attacking alone archetype in your cube. I know there are a few cards from the main set that push towards that, and I really like them. I'll talk about them when I go over them. So I think this may be good enough for Peasant Cube. I would be curious to test it, like some of the other ones. It's not quite a slam dunk, but I like the effect. Next is Pharaoh Ramatut, 5 mana 4/4, ward 2. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, he connives. So like a lot of the other big blue beaters that I've liked in Cube, he's got ward 2. Makes it a little harder to remove him. And then it's any non-creature spell, he connives, which I feel like is pretty strong. I mean, anytime you cast like a cantrip or your draw spell or your removal spell, you're going to get that chance to draw a card, replace maybe a dead card with an active card, and then the chance to make him bigger while he has board, I think makes him pretty strong. He'd definitely have to be a designated top end for blue in your cube, but I think he can get there. I think he's pretty good, and I would be curious to try him. Next is Photon, Lady of Light, 4 mana 3/3 flyer. Whenever she attacks, exile up to one other target creature you control and return to the battlefield under your control. This is incredible. I've already put it in my cube. It's a great flicker or blink payoff. Anyone without a designated archetype of that in your cube, being able to reuse your creature's enter and leave abilities is fantastic. Additionally, being a 3/3 flyer for 4 is pretty good stats. It's on rate, and it makes it easier to get in there with that flying. I think Photon is great. I would definitely suggest trying it in your cube. I'd put it in mine. Just wonderful for all those flicker and blink archetypes. Power Boost is next, a 3 mana enchantment with creatures you control at +1/+0. We've just seen better. Goblin Aura Flame is just this, but 1 mana less. I don't think it's good enough. It's clearly a tutorial card, so like it's meant for those welcome decks. It's not good enough, but fun card, but yeah. Next is Radioactive Man, 5 mana for 3/5 Death Touch. Whenever he deals combat damage to a player, that player loses half their life, rounded up. That effect's cute. The idea that you hit him for 3, knock him to 17, and then shave off another 8 life, or no, 9 life, because it's rounded up. That is the magical Christmas land, which is great. But he's just going to get chump blocked all day long. 3/5 Death Touch isn't anything crazy, nothing to write home about. I think he's just too, again, magical Christmas landy to really be good enough. If he had like Flying or Menace, maybe he'd be better. But I don't think Radioactive Man gets there. Next is Rescue Pepper Potts, 2 mana 2/1 Flash Flying. And when she enters, return up to one other target artifact or creature you control to its owner's hand, and if it was an artifact, put a +1 counter on Rescue. I love this card. It's essentially a blue Sun Pearl Kirin from Tarkir Dragonstorm, which is a fantastic Peasant Cube card. And sure, you don't get the card draw off of that if you bounce a token, but the idea that you can make this into a 3/2 flyer for 2 with Flash is incredible. And reusing those artifact and creature ETB abilities is wonderful as well. I put this in my cube. I haven't yet had a chance to test it, but I think it's pretty good, and especially if your cube has an archetype an artifact archetype or sub-theme, it just gets even better. I love it. I would play it. I would try it. Next is Sadistic Slash. 4 mana instant, target creature gets -5/-5 till end of turn, and has Mayhem for 2, which means you can cast it from your graveyard for 2 if you discard it this turn. It's cute. It's a good removal spell for -5/-5, but at base level of 4 mana is way too expensive. The Mayhem price is a lot better, but again, you have to have a way to make that Mayhem worth it. If your cube has a designated Madness or Mayhem archetype, or just a lot of Rummagers or Looters, I think it might be good enough as a good removal spell for those archetypes. Otherwise, it's just not good enough for the mana you're paying. Next is Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff, 3 mana, 2/3 Menace. Welcome deck card. It's a little boring. I don't think we'd play it. Not good enough, not strong enough, not unique enough, but hey, another Scarlet Witch card, it's cool. Not for Peasant Cube, though. Next is Secured Attention, 4 mana, Aura, enchant artifact or creature. When it enters, you get a 1/1 white soldier, creature token, and then enchanted permanent can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated. It's kind of a side grade to Faith's Fetters, where instead of the gaining 4 life, you make a dude. I think it's fine. I think Faith's Fetters has better board impact with the 4 life and from the fact it can enchant anything. This is probably decent enough if your cube supports an aura theme. Getting the dude and then just shutting down any artifact or creature is great. And 4 mana is kind of the going rate for that effect. I don't know. I'd have to see. I just think Faith Fetters is probably better. Next is She-Hulk Attorney at Law, 3 mana, 3/3 Vigilance, and with power for 7, put a +1 counter on her, and then double the number of +1 counters on each creature you control. This is fantastic for +1 counter strategies. Even at base level, a 3 mana, 3/3 Vigilance is great, and the idea that she herself can become a 5/5 that also doubles the number of +1 counters on other creatures you control, even having one other creature with a +1 counter on it, means you're just getting, what, 7 powers worth of counters and itself on the board, which is fantastic for that rate. I think it's wonderful. The hybrid makes it even better as it's flexible for draft, which if you're doing a peasant cube and a like really serious peasant cube with only peasant lands even, that hybrid mana makes it so much better from the flexibility standpoint. I like it. I actually kind of want to try this now in my +1 counter strategy in my cube for that archetype. I think it's a good card. Next is She-Hulk Jennifer Walters, 4 mana 4/4 Trampler, and you can pay 3, sack a land, draw a card, and put a +1 counter on her. This, I think, might be surprisingly good. 4 mana for a 4/4 is the going rate. Trample is good to push through damage. And the idea that late game you can sack a land or two, draw some extra cards, and make her bigger on a Trampler is pretty good. I know we've seen a dinosaur from the last Ixalan set that had that same effect of sacking land, draw a card. It did not get bigger over time, which I think adds a lot to this card as a 4/4 Trampler. It's going to grow, it's going to do more damage, and it's going to draw you extra cards. I think it's pretty good, and I'd be curious to see how it plays. Next is Shi'ar Soldier, 2 mana for a 1/3 flyer. Pay a blue, tap it, return another target permanent you control to its owner's hand, activate only during your turn. If it didn't have that last rider of only during your turn, I would love this card, and I would play it immediately. It would be a great way to save your creatures, reuse those ETB effects, but only during your turn means all it's really going to do is, reuse those ETB effects, or maybe like get rid of a bad aura that's on it. I don't think it's quite good enough as it is. A 2 mana 1/3 flyer is nothing exciting. It's a Sea Coast Drake, which we've seen a lot of. It's nothing great there. I just don't think it's quite good enough. If some of the details were tweaked a little bit, it could get there. But as it is, Shi'ar Soldier is not good enough. Next is Shuri, Vibranium Technologist, a 3 mana 2/2 Vigilance, and when she enters, choose one. Either create a 1/1 colorless robot hero artifact creature token with flying, or draw a card. I love this card. The flexibility here is great. At the base level of like a 1 mana more expensive Elvish Visionary that draws you a card and is a 2/2 Vigilance is great. And the option to make those little dudes that fly is even better. It's great for just general white and blue archetypes that need more bodies, and especially for the flicker and blink archetypes, it's fantastic. You can reuse it. It has flexibility there to either make more dudes or draw a card. And at the end of the day, 2/2 Vigilance isn't bad for what you're getting either. I love this card. Next is Sky Cycle, 5 mana 4/3 flying vehicle with crew 2. And when this creature enters, it deals X damage up to one target creature, where X is twice the number of vehicles you control. I think if you have somehow a vehicle archetype in your cube, this probably gets there, because it's like a Flame Tongue Kavu vehicle. But as it is, I don't think there's a critical mass of vehicles yet for that to be super viable. So I personally would not play this, but it may get better over time. Next is Stature, Young Avenger, 2 mana 2/2 reach. When you cast a non-creature spell, it gets base power and toughness 4/4 till end of turn. There's a lot of reach in this set. I think the reach is good here, and it gives you the ability that on your opponent's turn, you cast an instant, turn it into a 4/4 and block their flyer. But also, of course, the chance to just play a spell, hit for 4, is pretty good here. I don't think we have enough reason to play a red-green non-creature spells matter card, but if that becomes an archetype, this is definitely a good piece for that. So another one of those that we'll have to wait and see if the archetype or the strategy gets more love over the next few years. And if so, play it. And if not, then it's just a fine card. I probably wouldn't play it as is, but interesting effect for sure. Next is Stick, Fearless Mentor, 2 mana 2/1 first strike. When a source you control deals damage to you, exile the top card of your library. You may play it until the end of your next turn, and it only triggers once each turn. Speaking of cards, it'll get better over time. I know this was made specifically for the damage to yourself effect kind of deck that they want to push towards with Daredevil. If they keep adding to that at uncommon level with good cards that do that, and aren't just like a strictly worse of X, Y, Z that we already have, I think it could get there, because a 2 mana 2/1 first strike is good, and the ability for repeatable card advantage is even better. I just don't think we have the critical mass of dealing damage to yourself payoffs to make it worth it. I like the card though, and I like what they're doing with it. It's a new grounds they're treading, and I like it. Next is Storm, Shaker of Skies, 6 mana, 4/3 flying. When she enters, destroy up to 1 target artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. It's a new acidic slime, basically. I mean, it's a side grade. 1 mana more, it gets flying and +2/+1, and then instead of hitting a land, it hits a creature with flying. I think it's fine. I think I still like acidic slime better here for what you're trying to do. Green has plenty of other ways to kill creatures with flying, and while the creature with flying is probably better to kill than a land, I think overall the 1 mana cheaper and coming with a death touch dude is better than a 4/3 flyer for 1 extra mana. 3 toughness there just kills it. Like, it's gonna die to everything, lightning bolt, etc. So I think it's fine, but I just don't think it's quite good enough for Peasant Cube. Next is Strategic Intervention. A 2-mana enchantment. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gets +1/+1 till end of turn, and tap up to 1 target creature defending player controls. I mean, as you can tell with me almost misspeaking there, if it gave a +1 counter, I would love this, and it would be good enough as a kind of pushing you towards that attacking alone archetype. But as it is, just +1/+1 and tapping creature, it isn't good enough. Not enough value for what you're doing. Not worth committing a card for this effect. Yeah. Next is Stunning Shot, 2 mana sorcery, put 2/+1 counters on target creature you control, and tap up to 1 target creature an opponent controls, put a stun counter on it. I think this is the best rate we've seen for this kind of effect in white. Stunning a creature and buffing one of yours. If it was an instant, it'd probably be way overpowered, but at sorcery speed, I'm not super excited about it. It's probably decent for those +1 counter archetypes, even more so if you have Proliferate, to both buff your creature and then keep their creature stunned down. I think it just depends on your cube. At the end of the day with this one, white just has better removal. Next is Team Transmitter, 3 mana artifact. Whenever a hero you control enters, you gain 1 life. Tap, add a mana of any color. This is just a commander card. I don't even think if there's a critical mass of heroes at some point you would play it in Peasant Cube. There's just better, mana dorks, even mana rocks to play. Definitely just meant for, I think, that hero commander deck, but cool card, just not for us. Next is the Falcon, Sam Wilson, 5 mana flyer, 3/3, and whenever he enters, put a +1 counter on each other creature you control. Welcome deck card, but I think this one almost has legs. Buffing your whole other board is a great effect that we've seen on a lot of other 5-drop creatures at both common and uncommon, and coming with a 3/3 flyer is pretty good stats for that effect. Think of it as kind of like a air elemental that's just going to scale with the rest of your board. Because, I mean, if it at least puts a +1 counter on one other creature you control, it's 4/4 flying stats, essentially. I don't know that it's quite good enough or exciting enough for what we have these days in Peasant Cube, but I think at a lower power level, it's incredible. But I think you just have to play it and see if it works for your cube. Next is the Wasp, Janet Van Dyne. 3 mana, 1/1 flyer. When she enters, she deals 4 damage to target tapped creature and opponent controls. Another welcome deck card. I think we just have better rates for this effect generally. 1/1 flyer for 3 is not good, and 4 damage to a tapped creature and opponent controls is too specific. We just have better removal. Ultimately, I just don't think we'd play the Wasp, Janet Van Dyne in Peasant Cube. Next is the hilarious The Wizard, Classic Speedster. 4 mana, 3/3, first strike, haste. It's simple, and if it were just a little bit better, I would love to play it, but a 4 mana, 3/3, first strike, haste isn't good enough these days in Peasant Cube, so I don't think we'd play him, even though, he's incredible. He's the Wizard. We love the character, but it's just not good enough. Next is Tiger Shark, Abyssal Hunter. 4 mana, 2/3. Whenever he enters or attacks, he connives, and you can pay 5 mana to make him unblockable this turn. I think this might be good enough. You're getting that repeatable draw trigger, which is great for the draw 2 decks, and it's on enter or attack, so he's at least going to kind of replace himself with that connive, and kind of enter is maybe a 4 mana, 3/4. That's just going to keep growing. I kind of like it. I would be curious to test this in my cube to see if it's good enough. And the unblockable ability, you're not going to do it often, but when it matters, it's going to hit for a lot of damage. I definitely took a lot of damage from this in a couple of games of Marvel Jumpstart on Arena. So I know it can be scary. I just worry that, the floor here may be a little too low. But, test it. See if you like it. Next is Timeline Inquiry. 4 mana, Teamwork 2. So you can tap any number of creatures you control total power 2 or more to activate its teamwork effect at an additional cost, and then you draw 3 cards and discard a card unless it was cast using Teamwork. So we've seen a lot of these 4 mana draw 3, discard a card. This is one with upside. I think the Teamwork 2 here is pretty easy to meet. And just as a 4 mana instant speed, draw 3 and then tap a creature, it's probably pretty good. I would imagine, we'd probably rather play like a Fact or Fiction or something like that instead. And the fact that you rely on having some kind of board presence for its Teamwork definitely is a downside. I'm kind of up in the air on this card. I think we may just have better draw spells for this cost and effect. Next is Tippy Toe, Terrific Partner, 4 mana 2/4. If you would create 1 or more tokens, instead create those tokens plus an additional food token. And on your end step, if you gain life this turn, draw a card. This is adorable. We love Tippy Toe, but I just don't think this is a Peasant Cube card. It is the most commandery commander card I've ever seen. I'm excited to try it in my food commander deck, but it is not for Peasant Cube unless you somehow... you could have a food archetype in your Peasant Cube, and if so, I'm sure it'd be great there. But I don't think the average Peasant Cube is going to want to run Tippy Toe. Next is Titanium Man. 4 mana 3/4. Whenever he attacks, choose 1. He gains flying until end of turn, or he deals 1 damage to any target. This is not good. This is not good enough for Peasant Cube. If it was just a base 3/4 flyer that dealt the damage on target on attack, I don't even think that would be good enough, and needing to choose between the two just makes them that much worse. Don't run Titanium Man. Next is Ultimo Civilization's End. 6 mana 6/5 Menace. When he enters, each opponent sacks a creature of their choice, and you can pay 3, discard it, and each opponent sacks a creature of their choice. I like this card. It seems especially good in a cube with a designated reanimator theme or artifact themes, because you can turn 3, pitch it, and make the opponent sack a creature, and then later on reanimate it and get them to sack another creature, which makes it, I think, very versatile and very strong in that way. It being an artifact creature itself, again, is really good for those artifact strategies. I'd be really curious to try it. Black may have better top-end reanimation targets, but I think it may almost be good enough. I'm curious how it, what's the card? How it matches up against Gourmand, which is another one of those kind of, they enter, the opponent sacks a creature, big dude that you can reanimate. So maybe for Ultimo Civilization's End. Next is Ultron's Auxiliary. 2 mana, 1/1 Menace. Whenever an artifact is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, or an artifact card is put into your graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, put a +1 counter on this creature. If your cube has a black artifact sub-theme archetype, run this card. It is a great payoff for that. It's like a little tiny Sir Conrad that just grows really big for artifact stuff. If you don't run it. It's probably great for Commander as this ever-growing threat that's going to do a lot, especially in those Ultron Commander decks. But again, unless you have an artifact designated archetype in your cube, don't run it. Next is Undead Hand Ninja. 2 mana, 2/1 Death Touch, and whenever 1 or more creature cards leave your graveyard, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. I like this a lot. It's a aggressively statted Death Touch creature, and the added pings there for creatures leaving your yard, which notably at each opponent, so pluses if you happen to be a multiplayer cube, and you gain life off of it too, is going to add up over time. If your cube has like a designated Insidious Roots archetype, would care about creature cards leaving your graveyard, I think this could be really good. And even as it is, in just like a Black Aristocrat that happens to recur creatures from the yard for value, those pings are going to add up. It's kind of like a reverse, what's that card? Blood Artist for one thing, but like a reverse Zulaport Cutthroat is what I'm thinking. And having Death Touch on there is really good too. I quite like it. I'd be curious to try it, and it may be good for your cube too. Next is Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. 3 mana, 2/3. Other villains you control are heroes in addition to their other types. And target hero you control, tap. Target hero you control connives. Activate only as a sorcery. I think this is just too cute for what we want to do in cube. It's too specific. Caring about villains and heroes, they're not supported enough for Peasant Cube yet. And just tapping to make something connive at sorcery speed isn't good enough either. So I don't think Valentina is good enough. Next is Vault Guardsman. 6 mana, 3/4 with Convoke. So your creatures can help cast the spell, and each creature you tap while casting it pays for 1 or 1 mana of that creature's color. And then when it enters, exile target artifact or creature an opponent controls until this creature leaves the battlefield. At first glance, I did not like this card. I thought it was way too expensive for what you want to do with it. You just have better effects. But that Convoke really can make a big difference. Thinking of it as maybe average of 1 or 2 creatures on the board, you can play it for 4 or 5 mana. And in that case, it's 2 for 1. You get a creature that kills one of theirs until it leaves the battlefield. But that's reasonable. And then a 3/4 stat line isn't terrible. It's kind of on rate for what to expect for these big Convoke creatures. I think if your cube supports a Convoke archetype or token archetype, it's probably good enough. We've seen there's that enchantment from one of the Return to Ravnica sets that was Convoke for 4 mana to, O-ring something. So thinking of it as that, with also a 3 mana 3/4 is pretty good. Wait, no, sorry, it's 6 mana, so that'd be a 2 mana 3/4. That's even better. I think Vault Guardsman could be good enough, and I'd be curious to see how it plays. Next is Victor Mancha, Runaway, 5 mana 4/4. When he enters, exile target card from your graveyard. You may play it for as long as you control Victor Mancha. It's interesting. I like the way that we're, pushing the playing stuff from exile into other strategies, and then we're using that stuff in the yard. Plus, it's an artifact creature, which could have, extra bonus too. I just think it doesn't quite do enough for 5 mana is the problem here. So, probably not for Peasant Cube. Next is Victor Timely, Wily Tycoon, 5 mana 3/4. When he enters, you may cast target artifact, instant, or sorcery with mana value 4 or less from your graveyard without paying its mana cost, and if it would be put into your graveyard, exile instead. It's kind of like a tiny, what's that card? Gearhulk, the blue Gearhulk, that plays a card from your yard. But that's just so much better. Certainly it's mythic, so of course it's going to be better. But I don't think this is what we want to be doing for 5 mana in Peasant Cube. It's just not good enough for what we're playing and what we want to replay from our yard either. Next is Villainous Syndication, 2 mana enchantment plan. Tap an untapped villain you control, mill a card, and put a plan counter on this, and when the 4th counter is put on it, sack it, and then you can return target creature from a graveyard to the battlefield. I think this is probably only good in villain commander decks. I would not play it in Peasant Cube. Even if you have somehow a designated villain archetype, I don't think this is good enough for that. Don't play it, but, interesting effect. I like the plans in general. Next is Virtual Assistant, 2 mana 3/3 Defender. Whenever you cast a spell using Teamwork, create a 1/1 colorless robot hero artifact creature token with flying. We do not have enough Teamwork cards to make this usable in Peasant Cube. If we someday have tons of Teamwork cards that make it a valuable archetype, this is probably good enough. It's kind of like a Young Pyromancer, sort of, for Teamwork. But at the end of the day, you probably just want to be playing Young Pyromancer instead. So I don't think it's good enough. Next is Void Helix, 6 mana instant, deals 5 damage to any target, you gain 5 life. It's a giant lightning helix, and it's way too expensive. It's fun, it references the Void. Void's a cool villain, but Void Helix is not good enough for Peasant Cube. Next is Voracious Brood, 3 mana 1/1. It enters with a +1 counter for each creature in your graveyard, and whenever one or more creature cards are put into your graveyard from anywhere, you put that many +1 counters on it. I like this a lot. It's a good payoff for graveyard archetypes in Peasant Cube, and it also has synergy with the +1 counter archetypes. I think this might be a good enough piece. May even replace is it Boneyard Worm? That's the 2 mana and just has power and depth equal to the number of creatures in your yard. I'm curious to play this and try it. I really like it, and I think maybe you should try it too. Next is Wakandan Tusker, 2 mana 2/3. Whenever it becomes tapped, you gain a life and scry 1. I already have this in my cube. The hybrid mana makes it flexible. A 2 mana 2/3 is above rate for what we'd expect. And then tapping, which is generally just going to be when it attacks, you get a gain, and scry is great. It helps life gain strategies, but even just getting to scry 1 every turn when you attack with it is going to be a lot of card selection and guaranteeing that next draw is what you need. If you happen to have vehicle in your cube, it gets extra value there as a tapping there, or again, Teamwork, which I'd imagine what this is supposed to be built for, extra ways to tap it. It's going to get more value. I really like it, even just as a 2 mana 2/3. It's aggressive for those, white-green aggressive decks, zoo decks kind of, that just want to get in with lots of little dudes. I think it's a good card. I think you should play it. Next is War Machine, James Rhodes, 4 mana 3/2. Flying, whenever he attacks, tap up to one target creature. Nah, it's just too expensive. 3/2 flyer isn't good enough for 4 mana, and tapping one creature isn't enough on attack to make the mana value worth it. I don't think you should run more Machine James Roads. Next is Whirlwind Cyclone Killer. 3 mana, 2/3 haste, and whenever one or more creatures you control that entered this turn attack a player, target creature that player controls can't block this turn. It's a cute effect, definitely pushing towards that haste archetype kind of thing, but I don't think there's just good enough cards or good enough payoff to make that worth it. And it's just the one time it's on the turn they enter that's going to matter. So I don't think Whirlwind Cyclone Killer Cyclone is good enough. Next is White Tiger Amulet Keeper, 2 mana 3/1, and you can pay for exile it from your yard, draw a card, and you can put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. I like this. I mean, it's aggressively costed 2 mana 3/2. We've seen lots of those that have been good enough. The 4 mana to draw and just draw a card and put a land from your hand on the battlefield is nice. As a, it's a good card for graveyard decks, and you have that little bit of extra utility of it being in your graveyard to draw that extra card and maybe ramp a little. I just think it might be a little overcosted. And ultimately, what's a French vanilla? I mean, not even French vanilla. It's a vanilla 2 mana 3/1 isn't good enough. I don't think White Tiger Amulet Keeper quite gets there. Next is White Widow Yelena Belova. 2 mana 1/2 Death Touch, and whenever a creature you control with Death Touch deals combat damage to a player, put a +1 counter on it. If your cube has a designated Death Touch archetype or strategy, this is probably good enough. It's going to make those little threats grow into big monsters. I'm sure it's great in Death Touch commanders. On its own, it's not quite good enough. I wouldn't play it, but it's a cool effect, and I like they're pushing more into this Death Touch theme. Next is Wiccan Young Avenger. 4 mana 3/3. When you cast a non-creature spell, exile the top card of your library. Until your next end step, you may play that card. I think we just have better cards with this effect, probably. I mean, getting that extra card from every non-creature spell you cast, there's no limit on it, does make this pretty good, honestly. Lets you get repeated card advantage, and if you cast spells during your opponent's turn, then you get to play it till your next end step, which means you basically get that whole extra. It's kind of like a turn and a half of playing them. But a 4 mana 3/3 is not that great of stats, and it doesn't even have any like flying or menace or anything. I worry it might just be a little too clunky for what you're wanting to do. But it's a cool effect, and I'd love to see them maybe put this on a slightly better body at some point at Uncommon. Next is X-23 Deadly Weapon, 3 mana 3/3. Whenever another mutant you control enters, put a +1 counter on it and on X-23. Beloved character X-23, I know a lot of people really like her. I don't think this is good enough as it is in Peasant Cube. It's probably good for your mutant commander decks. And if they ever print enough mutants that there's a critical mass that you can, have that mutant archetype in your cube, it's probably really great. But as it is now, nowhere near good enough for Peasant Cube. Finally, Zarda, the Power Princess, a 4 mana 2/4 flyer, and other heroes you control have Exalted. I don't think this is good enough. You have to have a critical mass of heroes to make it worth it. We don't have enough good heroes in Cube to make it worth it. And yeah, it's only other heroes that have Exalted, which means it just kind of sits there as just a big 2/4 flyer for 4. Doesn't really do much else. I don't think Zarda's good enough. So that was our Uncommon review for Peasant Cube of the second half of the Marvel Superheroes Jumpstart set. A lot of really interesting cards here, some awesome cards that I know I've already added to my cube, some that I'd be curious to test and see if they're good enough. And again, I mean, just this many. There are some that probably will never see Peasant Cube play, but maybe some that'll get better over time. Thank you for watching. Do the usual like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And I'll see you next time on Uncommon Peasant.